Marcus Hale realized he was in the wrong room the moment the door closed behind him. It didn't slam. There were no alarms, no raised voices, no sudden flash of red warning lights. Instead, the door slid shut with controlled precision, sealing itself into the curved wall as if it had never been there. A faint vibration passed through the floor, followed by a low, resonant click that Marcus felt more in his chest than his ears. Locked. He stopped walking. The corridor beyond the door dimmed, the ship's internal lighting adjusting automatically to a space now marked private, restricted, and very much not meant for him. Marcus exhaled slowly and turned around. The room was nothing like the crew quarters he had been trying to find. It was wide and circular, with a ceiling that rose higher than any standard habitation deck. Soft blue light flowed along the walls in slow patterns, illuminating etched alien script that shifted subtly, as if responding to thought rather than motion. The air felt heavier here, charged in a way Marcus couldn't explain, and it carried a scent he had never encountered, sharp, metallic, and faintly floral all at once. At the center of the chamber stood the alien woman. She was taller than Marcus by nearly a head, her posture effortless and perfectly balanced. Her skin had a smooth, copper-gold hue that reflected the ambient light like polished alloy. Dark, mirror-black eyes regarded him calmly, without surprise or hostility. She wore layered ceremonial garments instead of armor, the fabric arranged in precise patterns that signaled rank to anyone familiar with coalition hierarchies. Marcus was familiar enough. She wasn't just an officer. She was someone important. "I apologize," Marcus said carefully, keeping his hands visible at his sides. "I was given the wrong section number. I'll leave immediately." He stepped backward, reaching for the door panel. It didn't respond. Instead, a thin lattice of blue energy traced the edges of the doorway. Still locked. The alien woman hadn't moved. "You are human," she said. It wasn't a question. Her voice was calm, resonant, translated perfectly by the ship's systems without any detectable delay. "Yes," Marcus replied. "Civilian contractor. Engineering division. I don't have clearance for this area." "That is correct," she said. Marcus swallowed. Humans aboard coalition vessels existed in a fragile middle space, valuable enough to keep around, insignificant enough to sacrifice if necessary. "I accept whatever penalty applies," he said. "I'd appreciate it if you unlocked the door." She studied him in silence, her gaze unwavering. "There is no penalty," she said at last. "Not yet." Marcus didn't like the sound of that. "Then why is the door locked?" he asked. "For observation." She began to move, circling him with slow, deliberate steps. Her footfalls made no sound against the floor. As she passed behind him, Marcus felt a subtle pressure shift, as if the room itself were bending slightly around her presence. "My species believes," she said, "that truth emerges only when escape is removed." Marcus turned to keep her in sight. "I'm telling the truth." "I know," she replied. "That is why the door remains sealed." Her words settled heavily between them. "You entered this chamber by accident," she continued. "Yet you did not attempt deception. You did not demand release. You did not invoke legal protections." Marcus shrugged faintly. Didn't seem like any of that would help. For the first time, her expression changed, just slightly. Interest flickered across her features. "For 3 cycles," she said, "the Galactic Council has debated whether humanity represents a destabilizing force." Marcus felt his chest tighten. "They observe your wars," she continued. "Your compassion. Your repeated defiance of probability." She gestured with one long finger. The wall behind Marcus reshaped itself, forming a smooth seating alcove. "Sit." He hesitated, then complied. "You are aware," she said, "that humans operate outside expected behavioral models." "I've heard that before," Marcus replied. Tonight, she said softly, I was instructed to make a private determination. Understanding settled in slowly. This wasn't detention. It was evaluation. What happens if I fail? Marcus asked. You will be reassigned, she said. Restricted from sensitive systems. Monitored. And if I succeed? Her gaze sharpened. The Council will reconsider humanity's classification. Marcus let out a slow breath. No pressure. She tilted her head, studying him again. Tell me, she said, why you attempted to leave immediately. Marcus considered his answer carefully. He could lie. He could offer something strategic. Something flattering. Instead, he told the truth. Because you didn't owe me safety, he said. And I didn't want to take advantage of that. Silence followed. The alien woman stopped pacing. Most species, she said slowly, would have assumed entitlement. Or attempted leverage. I assumed responsibility, Marcus replied. Something shifted then, not in the room, but in her. She turned toward the door and placed her hand against the control surface. The blue lattice dimmed, but the lock remained engaged. You may leave when I decide, she said. But understand this, human. She turned back to him. You were never trapped. Marcus frowned. Then what was this? She smiled, not kindly, not cruelly, but with measured purpose. A door, she said, that only opens one way. The lock disengaged. The door slid open. Marcus stood and stepped into the corridor, his legs feeling heavier than before. He paused, glancing back. She watched him, not as a superior observing a subordinate, but as something else entirely. A variable. The door closed behind him. Marcus returned to his duties, but the encounter stayed with him. Days passed. Then weeks. Subtle changes followed, restricted systems opened slightly wider, human crews received marginally more authority, coalition officers asked more questions instead of issuing orders. Marcus didn't connect the pattern until the summons arrived. This time, he was escorted. The chamber he entered dwarfed the first. Representatives of a dozen species occupied elevated platforms, their forms vast and varied. At the center stood the alien woman from before. She addressed the council. Humanity does not conform, she said. They act against self-interest, against hierarchy, and against expectation. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. But they act with responsibility, she continued. They do not assume safety is owed. They do not demand power without consequence. Her gaze found Marcus briefly. They are dangerous, she said. Not because they seek dominance, but because they choose restraint when none is enforced. Silence followed. The council voted. Humanity's status was changed, not elevated, not diminished, but acknowledged. Partners. As Marcus left the chamber, the alien woman approached him once more. You understand now, she said. I think so, Marcus replied. You entered the wrong room, she said. But you chose correctly. She turned away. And somewhere across the galaxy, doors that had always been closed to humans began to unlock, not by force, but by choice. All because one man had entered the wrong room. And didn't try to escape.